Hello, my name's Macy and I'm 30 years old. I'm here to talk about how I let go of my leeching in-laws and husband. Before I start talking about my crappy experience, let me introduce myself some more. I grew up in a low-income family. Most months we barely made it to the end. Sometimes we even had to starve. I had seen what poverty was like firsthand. It's not something I take very lightly. I know what real hunger pains feel like. I know what it's like to survive winters without heating. I didn't want to perpetuate the cycle of poverty that my family seemed to be going through, so I studied really hard. I was fortunate enough for my parents to be able to afford my education. There was not a single day that went by when I wasn't buried in my books. All of my days studying, I got a full ride at my dream college. While at college, I picked up various odd jobs to keep myself afloat. If I had any extra money, I would send it back home to my parents. It was in my junior year of college that I met my husband, Sam. At the time, I was working as a barista at a cafe that was pretty popular among the students of my college. One of my coworkers at the time was Sam. We were somehow always stuck with opening and closing duties together, so as we worked, we began making small talk with each other. Soon, it got to a point where I eagerly waited for my opening and closing shifts because I loved working with Sam. Sam felt that way too because he asked me out. I said yes, and we ended up going on our very first date to the amusement park. We started seeing each other seriously. We were pursuing different fields, but both graduated at the top of our classes. We got placements with these amazing firms. They were a great starting point for us. We moved in together 5 months after graduating. We worked at our first jobs for about another year. We didn't make amazing money, but we made enough to get us by. Now, here's where Sam and I did things differently. While Sam chose to continue working with his firm and wait for promotions, I quit mine and started working at a different place. I was immediately given a small pay raise with my new job. And I kept doing that for a couple of years before I was easily making twice Sam's salary. Sam had gotten a couple of raises, but that was about it. I had told him on multiple occasions to follow what I had done, but he said that it was too much work for him. Obviously, with this large gap in our incomes, Sam wanted to make some changes to how we manage household expenses. We had been splitting everything 50-50, but then Sam didn't want to do that anymore. I've been needing to talk to you about something. What is it, darling? I know we've been splitting all our bills and expenses 50-50, but like you're making double what I'm making. I don't think that's fair to me. What do you mean it's not fair? I mean, I'm practically struggling by the end of the month while you have more than enough to get by. Okay, but I'm not spending it on me. I'm sending my parents money too. Yeah, but like you still have a lot left, you know? Okay, and? That's hardly unfair. I worked hard to get where I'm at right now. I've asked you to do the same thing that I did. You know that it won't be easy for me to do what you did. Plus, it's so time-consuming. Obviously, you don't have to do the same exact things I did, but you've had so much experience at your company that you'll definitely find a better job with better pay. Hell, I'll even help you. That's not what I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to ask you if we could split the expenses more fairly. What ratio do you want to split it in? 70-30. That's too much for me and barely anything for you. I'll go till 60-40. All right, I can work with that. I was really upset with the way Sam was seeing things. I mean, I know we worked in different fields, but his field worked similarly to mine. I hated how Sam didn't want to make an effort. But I let it go because I didn't think it was a hill worth dying on. Our relationship didn't have many issues after that. We worked with our new arrangement, and I did notice that Sam seemed a lot less stressed and a lot more happier. Even though I wasn't initially happy with the arrangement, seeing Sam look happier made me feel better. If there was one thing that I did a lot back then, it was bending over backward to make the people I loved happy, which, to be fair, bit me back in the worst way possible. About 2.5 years into dating, Sam proposed to me. I was overjoyed and excitedly said yes. Our wedding was a small and private event. Only our immediate family and our closest friends were present. It was the first time I met Sam's family. They lived in the state over. I never really got to meet them because I was too busy working and I never really had any real time off. My only time off was weekends. Holidays were the best time to make the most amount of money I could. Even after graduating, the new jobs kept me really busy. Sam would make frequent trips to visit home, and whenever they would ask for me, he would tell them I was busy. So the wedding was a great bonding moment for us. Since we cut down big time on the wedding costs, Sam decided that we should move into a different flat. I was skeptical about it. Sure, we had more than enough saved to make a down payment for a bigger and better place, but most of that saved money was mine. I told him so. Baby, I don't think splurging on an expensive apartment is a smart decision. But we have more than enough money for a down payment. Yes, but most of it's mine. Baby, we're getting married. There'll be no such thing as mine or yours. Oh, there definitely will be. We're signing a prenup. But that's only for people who are going to get a divorce. Do you think we won't last? No, it's nothing like that. It's just a smart and safe thing to do. So is not buying a huge apartment right now. Fine, I'll agree to the prenup, but I won't agree with not buying a new place. I mean, look at our place. It's tiny. What's the issue with that? Babe, sometimes my family would want to come over and spend time with us. I don't want them to spend time at a hotel. I still don't think that's a smart decision. You never listen to me. All you want is your way. Why are you even marrying me at this point? There's no need to get rude. I'm marrying you because I love you. Just because I don't agree with everything you say doesn't mean I love you less. Please, you'll appreciate it a lot in the future. Let's just get a new place. Fine, but the apartment will be in my name. I will not debate that. Fine. Our new place was a penthouse. It had 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, and 1 office. Thankfully, it was not in a very happening area, so it was very affordable. I had also gotten a huge promotion at work that month. I was promoted to head of my division. Sam and I celebrated big the night after I learned of my promotion, and it was the best night of my life. But then tragedy struck. First, Sam lost his job because he wasn't doing his job properly. I was upset, but I couldn't show it because I had to be supportive of Sam. He wallowed in his depression for a while. I mean, there was no need for him to work because I made more than enough for both of us, but still, I wanted Sam to contribute in some way, especially because we were planning on starting a family. If we were going to have kids, we were going to need a lot of money, but Sam never seemed to listen. I decided to just let him be for a while and try and push him to work in a couple of months. Then tragedy struck again. Sam's family, about 2 months after Sam lost his job, due to some faulty wiring, there was a fire at Sam's home. Thankfully, aside from some very small injuries, everyone was safe and fine. The house wasn't completely burnt down, but it would take another 8 to 9 months to get repaired fully. The news of the fire distressed Sam a lot. He didn't sleep the entire night and kept checking up with his parents and his younger siblings. They were staying in a motel for some time, but they obviously couldn't stay there until their house got renovated. So Sam approached me the next day. Babe, I have something kind of big to ask of you. Yes? I was wondering, do you think we could invite my parents to stay here with us until their house is renovated? They have no other place to go to, and they can't keep living in a motel. It's expensive and impractical, you know. Oh, of course. They're my family, too. There's more than enough space here for them. Are you sure? Yeah. I could convert my office to a bedroom for your siblings, and your parents could take the guest bedroom. No, darling. I meant, are you sure you're okay with my parents staying here? Why would I not be okay with it? Because you know that they'll be staying here for the rest of the year, right? Yeah, and there's no problem with that. Thank you so much, darling. Shh, there's no need to thank me. A couple of days later, Sam's family moved in with us. I would love to say that it was easy living with them, but it wasn't. The first night they moved in, we had dinner together. After dinner, we sat together, drank a little wine, talked about ourselves for a while. I learned a lot more about Sam and his childhood at that point. Sam's mother, Sally, had managed to save some of her childhood albums of Sam's, and she showed them to me. We gushed over how cute Sam looked as a child. I got to learn about Sam's siblings a lot more too. His youngest brother was currently in his sophomore year of high school, while his youngest sister was a senior in high school. Sally told me that they had Sam when they were really young. After a while of talking about themselves, the topic shifted to me. So, Macy, tell us more about yourself. Oh, I don't know what to say. Tell us about your childhood. Oh, there's not much to say. I didn't grow up with a lot of disposable income. I struggled really hard, but it was worth it because I'm living pretty comfortable today. Oh, is that why you're always working? Yeah. I'm glad you married our son then. I'm sure he'll provide everything you need. Oh, but I'm the one. Mom, did you show her that picture of me sitting in the driver's seat in Dad's old car? Oh, yeah. Look at how silly he looks here. I looked back at Sally and her album, but the back of my mind was reeling with confusion. What did she mean by Sam providing for me? Did she not know that I'm the one providing for both of us? Why had Sam just interrupted me when I was trying to tell Sally just that? I knew that I had to talk to him. I waited patiently until Sam's parents decided that it was time to head to bed. When we finally parted ways to go to our respective rooms, I kept trying to get Sam's attention so I could ask him about what had happened earlier. But he kept making excuses and avoiding me. Finally, when we settled into bed to fall asleep, I asked him about it. What was that about earlier? What do you mean? Babe, don't play dumb. Your mom said that you were the one providing for me. What was that all about? About that? I kind of didn't tell my parents I lost my job. Why? It's embarrassing. I didn't want them to know that their child was unemployed. Okay, but why do they think that you're the one providing for me? Why, is that a bad thing? No, I didn't mean it in a bad way. It's just that you've already lied about something, and I just want to know what else you've lied about so we can keep up with it. Oh, sorry. Well, I also told them that I'm working from home and that I'm the one earning more. Let me guess. Because it would be embarrassing if I made more than you. Yeah, I don't like this. But I love you, so I'll let it go. Thanks, babe. You're the best. If I'm being completely honest, I hated what Sam had done. I worked hard to get to where I was. He knew that. In fact, he was there for a good portion of it, and still he took it all away. But at the same time, I understood the importance of wanting your parents to think that you're doing well. Basically, I hated it, but I understood it. The first week his family stayed with us, everything was pretty good. But then their true colors came out. They left messes everywhere, and neither of them ever volunteered to clean up, even after I had expressed how I wanted them to clean up after themselves. After a while of this, I gave up on asking them. I either took care of the messes myself, or I just let it be. Then it got worse. In the first month they were there, Sam's parents contributed to the utilities. The second month they stopped. Honestly, I was fine with it, even though I was a little upset. What I was not okay with was Sally accompanying me or Sam on our grocery trips and picking out the most expensive things and expecting us to buy them. On top of all that, they ran up our electricity and water bills like crazy. I sat down one night and just reviewed how much we had spent that month, and to my horror, I realized we had spent 5 times what we usually spend. So the next day, while we were all eating lunch together, I brought it up with Sam's parents. I don't know how to bring this up without making things awkward, but respectfully, in the nicest way possible, I need to ask you guys to cut down on the spending. What do you mean? I mean, you guys buy a lot of expensive stuff at our expense, and you guys have run up our water and electricity bills by a lot, too. You don't get to tell us what to do. Oh, no? I don't mean it in any rude way. It's just our expenses this month have been 5 times what we usually spend. If you could contribute a little, I wouldn't mind continuing to live this way. Contribute? This is my son's money we're spending. If he doesn't have an issue with it, you have nothing to say. Babe, that's enough. I was furious. I knew she was my mother-in-law, but she was staying in my house. She did not get to speak to me that way. I politely asked her to curb her spending, and she was so rude. And to make matters worse, Sam hadn't even backed me up. Hell, I wouldn't have minded if he kept his mouth shut. But he took his mother's side, and I did not like that one bit. I went to bed furious. I didn't speak to Sam or his family. The next morning, I got up and went to work. I came back, and Sam was waiting for me in the room. He began yelling at me for confronting his parents like that. I told him to keep his mouth shut because he was the worst of them all. He had no say in anything, and I was going to make sure it stayed that way. Sam tried to tell me that his parents had gone through so much and asked me to just humor them for a little while, and I told him that if he wanted to humor them, he could do it at his own expense. I reminded him whose house they were living in. I told him that if they kept this behavior up, I would throw all of them out, including him, without an ounce of remorse. Sam didn't talk much to me after that for a week. Sam's family's behavior only got worse. They got increasingly invasive. They rarely allowed my privacy. If I was reading a book in my room, one of Sam's siblings would come in and sit next to me. If I was cooking food, Sally would walk in and tamper with my food so it would fit the family's tastes. If I was working out at the complex's gym, Sam's father would be there. I had no space for myself. Initially, all of this was okay, but when you start to feel like your space is no longer yours, it's painful. I found myself spiraling into depression, and Sam just never seemed to care. He was just happy to keep the pretense going at my expense. Literally. The final nail in the coffin was when I returned home from work really late. I was exhausted, and all I wanted to do was take a long, warm bath, eat my dinner, and go to sleep. I didn't want to talk to or interact with anyone, so imagine my irritation when I walked into my house and heard loud laughs from a lot of women coming from my dining room. I walked over to the dining room to see what was going on and saw Sally surrounded by a bunch of women. I coughed to draw attention to me and politely asked Sally what this was all about. Sally perked up when she saw me and walked around the table to stand next to me. She then introduced me to her friends. Everyone, this is my lovely daughter-in-law. Hi, everyone. Oh, wow, she's really pretty. Yeah, thank God she has her looks. My son did her a favor by marrying her. Excuse me? She used to be so poor. If it wasn't for my amazing son, she'd probably be on the streets. No, I wouldn't. You know what? I'm sick and tired of all of you. Macy, calm down. What are you talking about? I'm not the poor one. Your stupid son is. I'm the breadwinner of this family, and every single one of you are a bunch of freeloaders. Macy! I've had enough of your family's rude and disrespectful behavior. Not once have you expressed any gratitude that I've shown. Not once have you lent me a helping hand around the house. Not once have you paid for anything. All you did was spend a fortune that was mine. Oh, please, even if you are the breadwinner right now, this house is in my son's name. So how we live here isn't a problem. We'll stop the overspending, but we'll live here on our own terms. My God, what has your son not lied to you about? This house is in my name. I'm the one that paid the most of it. I'm the one still paying it off because your no-good son is unemployed. Oh, my God. You know what? I'm done. I want you guys out, and I mean all of you, including Sam, by the end of this month. I'll send you an official notice by the day after. I don't care if you guys are left in the streets, but I deserve better than this." I left my place and went to stay with one of my friends. I was so drained from my emotional outburst, I didn't realize how much anger I had in me until that moment. It felt good to get it all out. An hour later, my phone was blowing up with calls and messages from Sam and his parents. Sam was angry with me for revealing everything to his parents, while Sally was mad at me for humiliating her in front of her friends. Sam's dad was the only one actually begging me to let them stay there. I felt so many emotions that I decided to just not dwell on them. There was only one thing I wanted, and that was freedom. Freedom from my in-laws and my lying husband. I had the notice written up the next day. I had also filed for divorce and got the papers ready. The day after that, I went over to deliver the papers to Sam's family. Initially, Sally and Sam started yelling at me. Sam then changed his tune and asked me not to leave him, but I was so numb from the past few months of torture, disrespect, and lies that I didn't bat an eye at his tears. I felt a little bad when Sam's dad and siblings asked me to let them stay, so I told them they either had to pay rent at the market price or get out. The rent for such a large apartment was obviously a lot and out of their budget. They ended up moving out. Sam knew better than to contest the divorce, because if he did, I would have found a way for him to pay me back everything he owed me. I was sad that my wonderful relationship had come to this, but at the same time, I'm finally independent and able to take pride in my accomplishments. I realized that I'm never going to bend over backwards for anyone, no matter how much I love them. I'm never going to let anyone use me ever again, and I think that's something everyone can take away from this. Remember to always live your best life and always be true to yourself. That's the one thing that makes life worth living. Thank you for listening.